Loch Ness is a freshwater lake with the largest surface area not only in Scotland, but also in the United Kingdom. Surely, there would be nothing special here if it weren't for the legend of a monster living beneath the lake, affectionately named Nessie. The legend of the Loch Ness Monster has been passed down for a very long time in Scottish folklore. The most well-known story dates back to the year 565. At that time, there was a monk named Saint Columba who, on his way to visit the king in the northern regions of Scotland, happened to pass by Loch Ness. Here, he heard from the locals a story that there was a monster living in the lake, which often troubled and preyed on humans. To protect the people, Saint Columba stayed vigilant and witnessed it attacking a man. The monk then raised his staff to the sky and called upon the name of God to drive it away. The monster immediately retreated and never dared to harm anyone again. However, it wasn't until 1933 that interest in the Loch Ness Monster surged across the United Kingdom. Local newspapers reported on a married couple who claimed to have witnessed the monster lurking beneath the water. The Loch Ness Monster story became the most famous media phenomenon in the world at that time. Many newspapers in London sent reporters to Scotland, and a circus even offered a reward of £20,000 to capture this creature. They affectionately gave it a name, which was Nessie. The first image of Nessie was captured in 1934 by a Canadian surgeon named Robert Wilson. It depicted an elongated creature rising from the water's surface. However, by 1975, it was proven that this photograph was a complete hoax. To this day, there have been numerous images and even videos capturing movement beneath the lake. However, it was quickly established that these were merely creatures such as sturgeon, catfish, and turtles, rather than Nessie. In reality, Nessie is believed to be a prehistoric creature called a plesiosaur, or sometimes referred to as a sea serpent, with a long neck and 4 flipper-like limbs. This species is thought to have gone extinct around 66 million years ago. Nevertheless, all of these findings have not deterred human efforts to prove the existence of this elusive creature over the past century. Over the past century, until August 26th and 27th of this year, the largest scale search in 50 years took place at Loch Ness, Scotland. Hundreds of volunteers participated in this search. Shika Royce Magnabara, a supporter of the search, shared that she had written a paper on the Loch Ness Monster when she was in high school 20 years ago. Now, as the largest search in history unfolds, she is enthusiastic and considers it the most important event in her life. She hopes to have the opportunity to witness Nessie firsthand. The Loch Ness Management Centre collaborated with the volunteer research group Loch Nation to organise the quest, the largest monster hunt in Scotland in 50 years. They employed never-before-tested survey equipment in the lake, including drones for search purposes. Volunteers from around the world were stationed at various points along the 37-kilometre-long lake to monitor any signs of Nessie. Meanwhile, others took boats equipped with infrared cameras on the surface of the lake, and a hydrophone was used to detect underwater sound signals. The investigation team recorded at least 4 very distinctive sounds on August 26. Drones also registered unusual temperature readings both above and below the water's surface. However, to date, there have been no specific indications of the existence of a dinosaur-like creature in Loch Ness. For those who couldn't make it to Loch Ness, the organizers of the quest also provided live streaming links to follow the event through video. The cameras attached to the volunteers will be linked to live stream websites, allowing people from around the world to observe any unusual occurrences in the lake. Some volunteer tourists were interviewed about what they would do if they were to spot Nessie. The most common response is to immediately take out their phones and shoot a selfie video. Agatha Brinda and her boyfriend Marty Wills drove nearly 12 hours from England to Scotland to join the Nessie hunt. However, Belisa has no intention of calling emergency numbers if she happens to spot the monster in the lake. She also has no intention of taking a selfie with Nessie. Instead, she wants to be present and savor each moment, as the drive here has become a once-in-a-lifetime experience. She said, "If we see it, we'll definitely cherish that moment in real time, rather than through a camera lens. While the searches have not yielded specific results so far, the question arises: what would happen if the Loch Ness monster were actually found? It is certain that it would be pulled from the water and put on display at a crowded location, such as a zoo or museum, for instance. The mainstream media would loudly broadcast worldwide about a creature believed to have gone extinct tens of millions of years ago. Concerns about the negative impact on Nessie's fame have even led to the establishment of a government conservation agency in Scotland. Despite continued skepticism about the creature's existence, there have even been protection plans drafted for Nessie as far back as 2001. In that plan, specific measures were outlined not only to protect this elusive creature, but also other unidentified species within the lake. If they were found, they would be shielded from the intrusion of curious individuals as well as the media. Nick Hafif, director of the Scottish Government's Nature and Climate Change Agency, stated that there are constantly new species being discovered off the coast of Scotland. However, the industry most severely impacted if Nessie were found would undoubtedly be the legendary Loch Ness monster tourism, which has become a massive magnet attracting tourists from all around the world. Everyone is curious and hopeful of catching a glimpse of the famous creature, even if it's just its silhouette beneath the water. This has turned Loch Ness into one of the most captivating destinations in Scotland, if not the entire United Kingdom. Each year, the country's government rakes in over £30 million thanks to Loch Ness monster discovery and hunting tours. If you visit the pubs around the lake, you'll always hear myth-laden tales about the monster, further fueling people's curiosity. It can be said that the people here primarily live on the allure of the prehistoric monster. Mark Toulis, the manager of a souvenir shop near Loch Ness, mentioned that the monster is an obsession for some. Speculation suggests that Nessie may not be an ordinary creature, but possibly a supernatural being. As the hunt continues, locals amusingly suggest that one's chances of spotting the Loch Ness monster might increase with a sip of Scotland's famous whiskey. The monster remains to be seen. However, what's certain is that the money has already flowed into the pockets of pub owners and lakeside innkeepers. So it can be said that those living off tourism in Loch Ness aren't eagerly anticipating Nessie's discovery. Once the legend is debunked, it won't be as appealing to everyone. Tourists will dwindle, and the hotel and inn proprietors, as well as pub owners, will be left feeding a legend, which is also a way for them to sustain their livelihoods. Hence, many stories of uncertain veracity have been concocted to pique tourists' curiosity, keeping them here as long as possible and spending as much money as possible. What will happen if the monster is not discovered? This possibility is very likely, as after 2 days, that is, on the 26th and 27th, there have still been no specific signs of it. Life at Loch Ness will continue as usual, much like it has for hundreds of years. If the monster does indeed exist, it will still roam freely beneath the cold, dark waters. And naturally, the tourism authorities in Scotland also favour this scenario, and occasionally they have the opportunity to organise monster exploration events, such as on the 26th and 27th of last month, to attract curious tourists to Loch Ness. While Nessie has not yet been found, scientists have plenty of other work to do, which includes not only the search for the monster, but also the exploration of other unidentified creatures that have never been known in the Loch Ness area. And who knows, perhaps the past of prehistoric creatures like Nessie will also be unveiled, bringing us fascinating stories about this world. Thank you for watching the video. Goodbye and see you in the next videos.